Posting. Oh. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Is anybody out there?
No.
Let's wait for a few minutes. We'll take some time just to make sure that everybody's getting into the broadcast if they need to.
Mm-hmm. Consider this like the lobby area.
Yeah, we need hold music.
Yeah.
Hold music.
Hold music next time.
Hold music. It's noon, everybody. Where are you? Punctuality. Try to avoid sitting at the try like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, should we
Let's wait.
We'll wait a few minutes.
A few minutes.
Hope everybody is enjoying transit today.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful day.
It is a lovely day.
Nice day.
Gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Hello.
Hello. I see a viewer.
You've just joined. We're waiting a few more minutes for a few more people to join.
We'll start probably officially at 12:02 or so. One viewer's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 2 viewers.
Google Plus.
Hello. Welcome. We're just, if you've just joined us, we are waiting to make sure that more people are able to see the start of this broadcast. And then we'll get going. I'm trying to, sorry, I'm leaning forward so I can see how many viewers we have.
Mm-hmm. One more minute.
One more minute. Wait, one more minute. Sorry, everybody who's watching this not in real time. This will be a very long intro. All right. I feel good about this.
Sure.
We should go? We should start.
Let's go.
Okay.
Welcome.
So, welcome. Welcome to our Hangouts. Today we are talking about The Buzzer, which is our 96-year-old transit newsletter.
Almost 97.
Yeah, almost 97 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're going to cover the history of The Buzzer and its work today.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about why it endures, and we will answer your questions. Bear with us. This is our very first Hangout, and so there might be a few bumps along the way. Hopefully none too large. And let's do a little introduction to us.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you?
My name is Robert Willis. I've been editor of The Buzzer online and The Buzzer newsletter since April of 2011.
And I'm Jhenifer Pabillano, and I've been the editor of The Buzzer newsletter and blog since January 2008.
Thanks for joining us.
If you have questions throughout the Hangout, we have some ways for you to get to reach us. And let me pull those up on the video screen. I'm controlling the screen here, so you'll see some weird-looking moves going on. There we are. Here. There we are. You can send in your questions through comment on the post for the Google Hangout, which should be up on Google Plus right now. You can send an email to thebuzzer@translink.ca or tweet your questions to thebuzzer on Twitter. All right. Should we get started?
Yeah, either way, we'll get your questions.
Here we go. So first and foremost, what is The Buzzer? The Buzzer is a transit newsletter that's been published since June 2nd, 1916. For almost 97 years, it can be found on all Metro Vancouver transit vehicles, and its current print run is 60,000 copies. It was published weekly until about September 1978, and then every 2 weeks from about 1980 to fall 2008. Now we publish monthly, but we've also launched the Buzzer blog, which publishes online every day at buzzer.translink.ca.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Look at that.
Oh, sorry. This is. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. The Buzzer. This is a picture of the Buzzer's very first issue, published on June 2nd, 1916. And the newsletter originally started out as a value add for transit when jitneys first appeared.
The jitneys, if nobody knows what those are. Basically, people in their cars pretending they're public transit to pick up people for fares.
Yeah, they would drive up to your stop,
Mm-hmm.
and they would take you to your destination for 5 cents. So
kind of like carpooling, where you got to pay them money.
Yes. Like, yeah.
Past the gas.
Yeah, using all the existing transit infrastructure. Eventually, those jitneys got outlawed, but the Buzzer still remains. There is no name, as you can tell, for this first issue. It says wanted a name there. There was a naming contest instead. that was declared to drum up interest in both the system and the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly the buzzer was the winning name.
Yep.
Second place was something called, it was Current Comments, and the third place was Between the Lines.
Very funny.
If you're wondering why these are strange names for transit newsletters, it's because transit was originally run by BC Electric, which was an electricity company. So, Current Comments starts to make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
As you can tell, there was $30 in prize money for the names, but there were lots of winners who submitted the winning names, so the buzzer just split the amount across all the winners. 11 first place winners got $2 each. Second place, everybody got $1.50, and the third place winners got $1.25.
And considering the cost of fares back then, that was probably pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Get you through the month, maybe.
Amazing. And the contest also, the newsletter also gives names of other streetcar newsletters at the time, which indicates the pamphlets were probably pretty popular elsewhere. This includes the Electrogram in Seattle, Transit Tidings in San Francisco, and What's What in Portland. But as you'll note, none of those other newsletters still exist. We are the only one that's still going.
Yeah. So the question is, why does the buzzer endure?
Why?
Well, there's many reasons, Jhenifer. One of them is that if you are the person that wants to axe the buzzer, you might get axed yourself. I'm not sure if this is totally true or not, but something I heard when I joined here a couple of years ago.
It is apocryphal.
Yes.
Say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just suffice it to say, don't be that person. Another reason is that it's, of course it tells you everything about transit, but it's also part of the fabric of the community. Tells you about coming events, commentary on city happenings, and if you go back and read through them, it really is just a really good gauge of history of what was going on back then, and gauging what people found important and what were the milestones of the times.
Yeah, if you can take a look at those on the right here, you can see my little cursor waving there. The 1953 buzzer has recommendations for books you'll like at the library from the Vancouver Public Library staff.
Which Oprah stole
Yes.
from us.
Yes, she did. And we have Pick of the Pictures, where Clyde Gilmore, who is, I think, a writer for the Vancouver Sun, reviews the latest movies.
The moving pictures.
Yes, the moving pictures. And then Story of a Street, where there was some history going on there, which we've continued a bit with our back issues. But that leads us into our second reason why we think the buzzer endures, which is...
It's entertaining.
It is, isn't it?
I think so. I hope so. I hope you find it entertaining.
Yeah.
Jokes and cartoons set a playful tone back in the day, in the heyday of the buzzer, especially the works of Bob Banks. And Jen, you had a chance to actually meet the man. I
did. Yes, we talked to him in 2008. I do want to refer to the jokes that we have here. These are some of the jokes that you hear in the buzzer. I don't know if you can read them, but they're pretty hilarious. Anyway, let's move on. Bob Banks, he was an illustrator for the buzzer, and he did illustrations from many places around Metro Vancouver and BC, really. But from 1954 to 1976, he was basically the staff cartoonist for the buzzer, and he drew about 1 to 3 fantastic cartoons a week. And let's look at a few of them now.
Pardon me.
Take it from me, Erwin. If all drivers would use a little more consideration.
Whoop!
There's a parking space.
It's true.
Here's another one.
Herman has very strong views on which route is more picturesque. He's a 3-main 5 Robson man from a way back. And this was actually referring to, the headline of this buzzer was about UBC improvements to transit going out there. Here's the taxi driver talking to his passenger saying, "I've been thinking it over, lady, and what with the new route changes and the improved service, we'd both better take the bus." Yeah. Anyway, Bob he had a great sense of humor. Unfortunately, he passed away, I think in about 2010, a couple of years after I met him. And but he left a lasting impact on Metro Vancouver, especially through these cartoons. And as Jen mentioned, we continue to feature his artwork in the back issue section of the current buzzer.
We do. All right.
Yeah.
So let's look at a little bit of buzzer content.
Yeah, let's go digging through the vaults. So here's a few things you can see on your screen. Hopefully they're somewhat legible to you, but I'll read the headlines at least if you can't see them. The buzzer was tracked major transit changes over the years, as I mentioned earlier. But this 1953
cover. Which one is that? Maybe
That's
put
right
your
here.
cursor over that one there, Jen.
There it is.
It's called Rails to Rubber, the move from streetcars to trolley buses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually that one was published in special like glossy paper so that you would have it as a collector's item, and lots of people do.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful illustration, beautiful edition. 1974, a great year. Expansion of transit service to Surrey, Delta, and White Rock.
There it is.
So that was pretty big.
Welcome.
Yes. 1977 issue. The C-Bus opens. Hooray! Quote on the cover, welcome C-Bus to BC Hydro Transit System. We're proud of you.
We sure are.
Yeah.
And we still are.
We love the C-Bus.
Next.
The C-Bus, by the way, is very unique. There's very few places that quite like it for like frequency and whatnot. So
yes.
I digress.
And very few systems really have a C-Bus as part of their.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I like the name.
I do.
It's a bus on the sea.
Yeah.
Good for. Anyways, 1985, SkyTrain launches its free preview days. I'm not sure what that is.
Well, that's that's a 1985 buzzer, and it talks about SkyTrain launching. And really, SkyTrain launched somewhat officially towards the end of 85, beginning of 86. And so you could write it for free at this time, but you started to pay at the beginning of 86, so you can kind of say
Gotcha.
But anyway, the buzzer champions the launch. How exciting.
Mm-hmm. And the 1991 edition is kind of like everything old is new again. Discussions of Vancouver, Richmond rapid transit. Or to say, you know, there's discussions with expanding transit in other areas up at the Lower Mainland.
Yeah.
2009, the opening of the Canada Line, which is a great day.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I know.
And it's a very well-used service.
Yes, lineups for that one. That was great.
So these are the big changes, but you know the buzzer also tracks the very tiny changes. In 1952 issue, the buses finally installed left-hand turn signals. So I was asking Jhenifer, what did they do beforehand? And you know,
we didn't have turn signals. If you read that article, it talks about how there were signal arrows on the other side of the bus, but not on the left-hand side, and this was motorists who were trying to, when a bus was pulled into the curb, motorists wouldn't necessarily see that they were trying to get out into traffic, and so there would be accidents, it seemed. So
yeah.
So
I don't know if
nice.
people were more patient, there was fewer cars on the road, but
Probably,
things were a little bit different back then. 1961, talking about transistor radio use on the buses. Yeah.
Yeah, rider protests blaring radios. And this person had switched back to their car because they were really annoyed that people were taking their transistor radios on the system, making this infernal racket.
Yes.
Horrifying development.
Yes. Electricity is also a big theme. Transit used to run, transit was run by BC Electric, of course, and the focus at the time was consumption, not conservation.
No, not at all.
Yes. So in this 1921 issue, the buzzer helped people calculate the cost of their electricity.
Yeah, the headline says, how to figure the light you use. There's a lot of calculations in there, but I think you were really trying to convince people that switch from lamplight to electric lights.
Yeah.
It's, anyway.
The 1936 issue helped you figure out what lamp, that's the one we just mentioned. In the 1950s, corporate mascot Ready Kilowatt, which was a mascot of many different corporations at the time.
Here he is.
He was the obedient house slave, helping homemakers do their work.
That was actually how he was referred to in some of the cartoons, that he was an obedient house slave. There's this 1936 one, too, which champions a glorious windowless future here. And it talks about the Hershey building, which has built a new building that has no windows, but who needs windows anyway, because the inside is like the sunrise on a June morning.
Yeah, that's what it feels like here every day.
It is true. Yeah. It is true.
And lest we not forget, the 1966 issue, we learned about how to best pack your freezer.
Yeah.
I could use this, actually.
Me too, actually. Actually, it wasn't in there. It was a program that you could attend at BC Hydro to learn to pack.
Oh, wow. Whole program.
Wait a second.
I hear
it
something.
sounds like somebody's coming in. Oh. Wait a second.
I hear somebody's popping in here.
Whoa! Whoa!
Who just popped in here?
Whoa.
Hey! It's a little piece of history from the buzzer. It's Mr. Buzzer. Hi, Mr. Buzzer.
Hi, Mr. Buzzer.
Great to see you. Nice
so
hat.
good to see you.
Well, if you've never laid eyes on Mr. Buzzer, it's maybe because you didn't live here at the time. You know, Mr. Buzzer came into existence in 1977 to help teach kids about safety and encourage them not to vandalize transit.
Let me put his little pictures up on the screen if you remember him. Oh, let me go.
There we go.
There is.
Looking good, Mr. Buzzer.
Yeah, as real as Popeye. He fights bus battles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Buzzer, more than fun.
Yes.
So Mr. Buzzer would come and visit your elementary school, and later on in the year they expanded about what he would do. He'd make special appearances also at parades and other events, and like today.
Yeah. Thank
Hey,
you,
we're
Mr.
back.
Buzzer.
Thanks for
It was
dropping
so
by.
good to see you.
That's a very rare appearance.
Peace out, sir.
Wow. I'm flustered. Where were we?
All right. Now we're ready to take questions from the audience, actually.
Okay.
So if anybody has any questions, I will put up, again, how to reach us. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
All right, you can comment on the post of this Google Hangout itself. It's quite easy to do. Just go back to your, I think, your Google Plus homepage, or if you have the page open already, you can comment there. You can also send us an email to thebuzzer@translink.ca, or send us a tweet to @thebuzzer. Our Twitter handle is @thebuzzer on Twitter.
Yes.
And maybe while we're waiting for those questions to come in, I might ask a couple questions myself.
Wait a second. Let me get back to the right screen. So you can see us here instead.
Yeah.
All right.
So we talked about how, the buzzer kind of started off in the Vancouver area and kind of then, expanded as the transit system expanded itself. But I'm wondering if there's any other chance that the buzzer was read anywhere else in British Columbia or beyond. Did we cover the rest of transit in British Columbia?
Yes, we did. In fact, the buzzer was published in Victoria for quite a time. When it launched, it was also published there. There was a separate edition published in both Vancouver and Victoria. We have these little books here. I'm going to grab one. This is how the buzzer used to be collected at the end of each year, as they would compile all of them into a little bound book. We don't really do this anymore. We kind of stopped in the 70s. Yeah. So at the end of the early books, you can see that the Victoria editions are in the back there, and the Vancouver ones are in the front. There were fewer ones published in Victoria. And the reason for all this is that BC Electric ran transit in BC. They ran transit in Victoria, so they knew they had separate audiences. They knew they had separate things that people were concerned about, and so they published separate issues. Now, the Victoria edition folded in 1966. I'm saying that specifically. I can't remember why I know that. I think I found the actual last issue somewhere, because it was a very somber affair, and it had "This is the end" written on it, I think.
No.
But I think it was just less interest, etc., and they discontinued the edition over in Victoria. But here we kept it going.
Yeah. Now, you and I put together the current buzzer.
Just checking for your questions.
But it hasn't always been Jhenifer and I that put together the buzzer every month or weekly like it was back in the day.
Nope.
There have been some different people that put the thing together. And to test your multitasking and ask you about those people that did it before us.
Again, let me see. You want to have a look for this?
I would love to.
Mostly the people who have been the authors of the buzzer have been members of the communications and PR departments of BC Electric. Wait a second! Who has just popped in?
Hey!
Hey! It's Mr. Buzzer.
We got a question from Mr. Buzzer. Who draws the buzzer covers? Very good question, Mr. Buzzer.
Good question. Thanks,
Yes.
Mr. Buzzer.
Well,
Okay.
this month we have Kim Ridgewell. And every month we go out and we look for a different artist. There's very few of them that have been illustrated by the same person. And the idea with who gets to illustrate the buzzer is we kind of want to give exposure to young and up-and-coming artists. We don't always go after the big-name artists. But we kind of want to give exposure to people that are kind of cutting their teeth, whether it's in graphic design or it's in fine arts. We've had different types of illustrations, and every year we have something a little different. Every month we try something a little different as well. And we really look for people that will work well with us and who can really illustrate what's going on the inside of the issue. So we had one a while back that was about the buzzer's birthday, and we had a bus going through a birthday cake and making it exploding and whatnot. And we're always looking for people to illustrate every month. So if you are a artist or you know of somebody who would like to illustrate the buzzer, it also includes some exposure on the Buzzer blog. So drop us an email to thebuzzer@translink.ca or tweet us.
Yeah. I should also mention that we try explicitly to get somebody from the Lower Mainland.
Yes.
I don't know if you mentioned that.
No, I didn't.
Because, I mean, to be honest, I found that people who know our transit system the best tend to draw the best pictures of it.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
They really do. So let's, Mr. Buzzer, did that answer your question? Oh, good.
Thumbs
good.
up.
That's wonderful. Thank you. It was great talking to you, Mr. Buzzer. If you have any other questions, feel free to call in.
See you later.
Hope you're having a great day, sir. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? I'm just going to check the Twitters and the YouTubes.
Yeah. So if you do have some questions as we move on as well, you can always post them or tweet them. One thing that we have this, as I mentioned earlier, this back issue section of the Buzzer, and it kind of really brings out the different things that people found important back then as compared to today. And Jen, you've looked into the back issues a bit more than I have. Is there anything that's different as far as transit writers go? I mean, how have people
Robert,
changed?
let me tell you.
Please. We're all ears.
So I would troll the back issues of the Buzzer in order to find little tidbits that we could write in the current Buzzer. And I remember reading an article from the 1920s where a writer had written in, an adult writer had written in, and he was very incensed. And basically, he said, I pay my fare to ride on these buses, and when I get on there, I see children. I see children sitting in the seats. I know, horrifying. And, these children don't pay to get on the buses, and I do. So I would appreciate it if you would take the kids off the seats so that paying people can sit down and ride the bus. And, I thought, wow, we certainly don't do that anymore.
We've come a long way.
We have come a long way.
Yeah.
But we can also say that there are many things have not changed for riders throughout the years. Very specifically, nobody likes having stuff on the seat next to them, taking up space.
No, that's a perennial.
Oh, God, yes. Everybody is always admonished for leaving their shopping on the seat beside them. Moving to the back of the bus is a perennial thing, although back in the day it was moving to the back of the streetcar. People still don't do it, and I think it might just be something more to do with human nature than it is to do with current times, etc.
We were talking also about Ready Kilowatt, and I remember coming across a cartoon where Ready Kilowatt's talking to Uncle Sam, and he's talking about and bragging about how us Canadians use more energy than you Americans, and how that was a badge of honor. So how things have changed.
Yeah. All right.
So as I mentioned, keep thinking of those questions, and you can send them out to us whenever you want, and even after this broadcast, we will try to track down answers just like we do on the Buzzer blog.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think, Jen?
All
Should we forge ahead?
We should.
Right.
Excellent. All right. So actually, maybe one thing to mention right now is that we've been talking about all of these great Buzzer issues, the past ones that we've read and how great they are.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if everybody knows that you can actually read them yourself online from the comfort of your own home.
Yes.
Yes. Let me do a little screen sharing here so that you can see what I'm talking about. Ta-da!
Yeah.
Robert, why don't you tell us a bit about this?
Well, these have been great. I mean, basically, I believe before I was around at TransLink, there was an effort to try to get as many of these old buzzers scanned and put into our vaults, and basically made into PDFs for you to download.
Yeah.
And so I use these, almost weekly, just to figure out answers to questions, and also just to figure out what we've done in the past, and look for great old articles included in our most current issues. And I had a question just about, where did we find all these old things? Were we collecting them the whole time? I mean,
yes.
We weren't always TransLink, Jhenifer. So
no, we were not. We were not. But we have inherited the vast archives of BC Transit and BC Electric. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to switch back to us now. Because, you won't want to see us. We actually have loose copies of most of the issues in our storage facility. You know, very secure. And we had those scanned at, and I helped head that project there, where we categorized and had them all done. We also had a kind Angus McIntyre kindly loaned us a lot of loose issues from the 1950s and 60s, which we scanned and are in there, but we didn't have some of those. But we do have the most comprehensive archive of buzzers anywhere. I believe I was talking to the provincial library about it a bit when we were doing the scanning project, and they didn't have as extensive coverage as we did. But we also have an extensive coverage again of these small books, extensive collection.
Yeah.
But because they're in books, they're hard to scan. You know, with that kind of cracking and dismantling them, and so we've been a bit loath to get them all scanned in order to fill in some of the gaps in our coverage. But
and some of them are stapled together or something, right?
Yeah.
You see the scans there.
Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, some of the ones that Angus gave us, he had originally had them. They were on hooks for some reason, a big hook.
Yeah.
And they had a hole punched in them. And
Oh,
they were
right.
put together, so that's why there's some holes in them.
Right.
Holes.
But if we also have the holes in our collection, right? So
Yes,
I know there's people, every once in a while I'll see on Craigslist people trying to sell old issues. So if you are a collector and you have something that you think that we don't have, you don't see on our PDF archive, let us know. Because we'd love to keep making more complete.
Yes. We are especially missing stuff over around the 1910s, I think.
Oh.
Like the early part of the century. I don't know who would have kept these or collected them, but
you never know.
Yeah, we're. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I have a question about where we're going to in the future, because it used to be every 2 weeks it came out, and then it got revamped years ago when Jhenifer joined, and then made it monthly. And we recently.
But we transitioned. The blog really helps us keep in touch with people, although it's not quite a newsletter.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask this actually. I have another question about the blog.
Yeah.
But we recently did some surveys online and in print, where we asked you about what you think of the buzzer, and also everything from quarterly bus service changes. Do you like those kind of things? How often do you want the buzzer to come out? Do you want it to continue to be monthly, or do you want it maybe quarterly? And also what the buzzer means to you. So just because these surveys are now done doesn't mean you can't share your thoughts about the buzzer with the same ways that we're asking you to share with us right now on Google+. So we're always looking for ways to perfect it, and there's lots of good suggestions like bring the jokes back.
Yeah.
So we're always keeping those kind of things
We're thinking about
on
that.
the back of our mind. Maybe we'll bring back the jokes. Yeah, for the most part, people seem to be pretty pleased, and people say don't get rid of the buzzer, but we wouldn't think about it because we don't want to get axed.
Yeah.
But a question a lot of people ask is, what's the difference between the blog and the newsletter? They have the same name.
Yeah.
Why did we start a blog? Yeah.
Good question. Well, it really stems back to TransLink's commitment to reach out to through communication channels which we knew people were using. And we know that a lot of our ridership is getting in their information through social media, through online channels, and we wanted to make sure that we were a part of that because we want to reach our rider base, our customer base now and into the future in a strong way. So that's why we ventured into a blog using the buzzer, through the buzzer.
Right.
And it also allows us to be more flexible. We can update every day. You can't really publish a newsletter every day. It takes a lot more effort.
Yep. Not very sustainable.
Yeah, and it allows us to have two-way conversations with our customers.
Right. And the content overlaps just a little bit, but I find the two kind of accent each other. They both have exclusive content, so if you're just going to be reading the newsletter, you're going to be reading something that's just for you, as opposed to reading the blog and whatnot.
Right. All right, so we have a question from Twitter.
Great.
All right, and this is from Jeremy. Very nice. Great name.
Yeah.
And I will read it to you and you can answer this.
Oh.
Wow, buzzers from 1920. That's 93 years ago. What do you expect in the buzzer 93 years from now?
Like in
Year
the future.
2106.
Well, we'll have hover buses by then, I'm sure. That's a very good question. I would not be surprised that we might actually still be around.
Yeah.
Because from my understanding is people have tried to get rid of it for years, and you just can't get rid of the sucker.
No.
Companies have changed. I mean, Transit didn't exist.
Yeah.
BC Electric, these things have changed, but the buzzer still persists. So
An argument can be made of this longest standing transit brand in Metro Vancouver.
it's probably one of the longest running newspapers in British Columbia.
Yes, probably.
Yeah. So I imagine it'll continue in. I'm not sure if it'll be in the form it is today. It'll be online. Maybe they'll have digital paper will be the big thing then, or maybe there'll be some other technology we don't know. But I really hope that we keep going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, there's another question which is more procedural, but I'll answer it here.
Mhm.
It's from the Transit fan, which is John. Hi, John.
You
I
know,
can see you tweeting about this, so I know you're watching.
mhm.
He asked if this Google Hangout will be recorded to be put on YouTube, and the answer to that is yes.
Yes.
We are doing currently what is called a Google Hangout on air, which means at the minute that this thing is done, it will be uploaded to YouTube and shared through Google Plus instantly.
It's true.
Yes.
Maybe it's because it's owned by Google,
Mhm.
the YouTubes.
Mhm.
But yeah, it'll be up right up there for everybody to check out.
Yeah.
And this is something where it's just kind of an experiment. We've had a Google Plus account for a while. We haven't really used it much because we weren't sure if our users are on Google Plus as much as they are on, say, Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. So it's kind of an experiment, but we like the technology, so we hope that we might be able to do more of these in the future if it's well received.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
That's great.
that's great. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's 12:30, by the way,
Yeah.
and we are still welcoming questions if you are so inclined. I'm just going to put this up if anybody has joined us and we haven't answered you.
Have you checked the email recently?
Yes, I have.
Mm-hmm.
Robert, can you let the people at home know how to contact us?
Well, you can comment on the post for the Google Hangout itself. We're checking all three. The second way to communicate with us is to send us an email to thebuzzer@translink.ca, all one word, all lowercase, or you can tweet us at thebuzzer on Twitter. Mm-hmm.
Now, actually, I want to talk a little bit about logos. Who likes logos?
Yeah, well, who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
I have my favorite.
Yes. Which is your favorite, actually? Maybe I'll try to get them all up on screen here. Let's take it to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you know.
Yes. So
Fill space.
we've had
We've
the same logo for a few years now. What,
Yeah.
maybe 5 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the buzzer with the buzzing insect.
Yeah.
But there are many different logos, and they all kind of reflect what was kind of in the zeitgeist for design back then.
Yeah.
So there's some really fun
Here we go.
ones.
I've got
And maybe we'll bring some of them back just for fun in the future.
it. Maybe we could.
Wouldn't it be fun? So the current one is on the bottom right.
Right here.
Yeah, and it comes in 6 different colors.
It does. And we actually use Translink's corporate colors. So you'll see 6 different colors rotating throughout.
And you can see them on also our other publications.
Right.
And whatnot.
And I'll talk a bit about maybe how that logo was developed. That could be
Please.
nice. Yes. Essentially, do you see this logo here? This one right here,
Okay,
second
dark blue
bottom.
one, yeah.
That one had not been changed since 1992. So by default, it's sort of become the longest running buzzer logo we've ever had. It ran for 17 years.
Not my favorite.
Yeah, it wasn't, it was very appropriate for the 90s.
It looks like
It's
a 90s
very
logo.
90s, and it's, very different. But, I think when I joined and I had introduced new colors to the buzzer, as you might have recalled, the ones in the 2000s were they were very, very dark blue. So I threw in the new colors, etc. And we were like, maybe it's time to spruce the logo up. So we did. We did with the help of our ad agency. And we came up with this great little buzzer. And I think it's kind of funny that we've completely abstracted away from the concept of electricity, which is, I think, what buzzer was supposed to be about.
Yes.
And now it's a bee or a little fly, which is but
How long is it going to last for, Jen?
who knows? Maybe another 17
Who
years.
knows? We'll see. If you have any suggestions, let us know.
Yes, please let us know. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about the older issues. So this is the first buzzer logo right here. That ran for 11 years. It is the BC Electric logo, which is right next to it.
Yeah.
Stately, It's very
To the point.
yeah. It's to the point. It looks good.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1925, we have this really cute buzzer logo, which is a bunch of little I guess what would you call them, streetcar dudes is what's coming to mind. I think it's operators.
Yeah.
And they are running, holding the buzzer letters, and that's pretty amazing. And I'm pretty sure somebody just drew that. There's not like anytime they change the logo, there's not a lot of fanfare about it. They just change it.
Okay.
It just overnight happens.
This next one's pretty good.
This next one is crazy. This is my least favorite buzzer logo,
Really?
but everybody else
my
likes
favorites.
it.
It's up there.
Because the guy has crazy arms that are completely disproportionate. And what is he doing with this poor streetcar? And
Pulling it.
Oh god! And this terrible font. Anyway, and that one only ran for 4 years. And you know, somewhere between 41 though, I think there was a couple of other buzzer logos in there in the mix. So if you look through our archives, you'll see that there were some other ones. There were some other ones that were floating around. Oh, sorry. I think I've been putting my mouse on the wrong things. And thank you for the update. So here we have the 1942 to 1948 buzzer, which is the war years.
The Warriors?
Yep.
Oh, the war years.
The war years. So I think things are a bit more somber. You can read in the buzzer after we exit World War II that people have grown tired of public transit. The buzzer kind of takes on this tone like they know they're kind of losing their audience, and they're justifying the increases that are being made to keep up in with what do you call it, transit fares, because they need to build new infrastructure and that sort of thing. Yeah, it's still its great old buzzer, but
Yeah, sad face.
A little bit sad faced, and I think the sort of appropriately happy sad sign there is very apropos. Then we have the totem pole buzzer, which I believe that one was drawn. This one and this one, the 61 and 49, they were drawn by Bob Banks as well.
Ah.
Yeah, so which is why it has this kind of familiar tone there. Yeah. And in the buzzers one right here, you can see this is Ready Kilowatt.
Yeah.
Who we kind of talked about before, but he was a mascot developed for power companies way back when, and so he was the mascot for several places, and we licensed him, I suppose, to be our mascot too.
You can see Ready Kilowatt in Chinatown.
Yes, you can.
On a building. What building? I don't remember. He's in.
It's the one that was the old.
Well, Blim used to be in it.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Anyways, it's a neon sign.
Yeah.
It's on a. If anybody knows which building that is.
I believe it's right downtown where the old streetcar barn used to be.
That would make sense.
So that is which is like I'm gonna say Pender and something.
Yeah, not close to the Chinatown gate.
Yes. Anyway, so this one here, I don't know how the story behind this one. I didn't really have anyone who could tell me more about it.
It's my favorite though.
Is it really?
Because it reminds me of Batman and Boston Pizza.
Oh, I see.
Both good things.
Both good things.
Both pizza.
Yep.
And Batman. It's got that jester kind of feel, but it's kind of whimsical.
Yep. And then we have this one here.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I haven't got a story about this one, but lots of people seem to really like it. It's old. It is, I'm going to say, groovy.
Groovy.
That is the feel I get.
Bubblegum's what I think of when I look at that one.
Right. And then towards, I said 92 earlier, but it really seems to say 93. We transitioned over to the new buzzer for the 90s and then to where we are today.
Great.
Yeah,
neat.
Yeah. Close that. Oh, we're back here. Hello.
Yeah.
All right. So if anybody, again, has any questions, please feel free to email us.
Yeah.
Or
at the buzzer at transig.ca. Tweet us at the buzzer or comment on the Google Hangout itself.
I'm looking for your questions right here, so just sorry for all the looking down. Well, any questions for you?
Yeah. Well, how does it actually put together? I ask myself.
Every day?
And I answer in that we do it in this very office on our computers.
Yes, we do.
Armchair graphic designers that we are. We hope that it is legible and that you enjoy it. But we're always looking for different options for designing and whatnot. But it's 4-panel. Sometimes it's a 6-panel. So just depends on what the content is. 4 times a year. It also has service information.
It does.
So next month will be April service changes.
That's right.
And there's 11 or 12 issues a year. Sometimes we do a December, January, just because of who's here and the content that we're able to put in it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Just around in my files and see if I have anything else up here. It's good to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe a couple more minutes, and if we don't, we can always send us questions afterwards.
Exactly. So let me just, in the meantime, let me see if I can find some fun pictures for us to look at.
Yeah.
I do have.
It's like your tickle trunk.
Yes.
Your buzzer tickle trunk.
I do have a tickle trunk. This is pretty funny. No, maybe not that.
Well, we were talking about back issues of the buzzer before. Sometimes people bring their own collections to our I Love Transit meetup night. And so every year, it's in July, right?
That is right.
We have a week-long celebration of public transit called I Love Transit, which is primarily held on the blog, but we also have an issue devoted to it as well, an issue of the buzzer. We also have an in-person meetup, and we'll be announcing that shortly. But we have kind of a sharing table when we have that day, and people bring their favorite copies of the buzzer. We bring some of these actual originals there as well. So if you have anything like that you want to share, make sure to check the blog for where that meetup will be this year. And we also have old buses for I Love Transit, and we play games. It's a lot of fun. It grows every year. It's like over 100 people we had last year, and it's kind of like a summer barbecue feel, but for transit.
Yeah, absolutely. Join us.
Yes. You got something.
I do have something. I've fished out another item from the archives. This is from just post-war, and again, this probably illustrates rider and transit attitudes very well. It's a question about, what about the weekly pass? And I believe this is from 1947, so you can fish through our archives to see this one. But it talks about how the weekly pass was introduced in 1932, and then at this point they were choosing to abolish it. And I think today we'd all go, "Are you crazy? People like having discounts on bulk items." But this was not the justification made back then. I'll read a little bit from it, which says, "The weekly pass is open to abuses over which the company has no control. Passes are transferred freely from person to person. Many business offices have one or more passes which are used indiscriminately by many employees." Horrifying. And essentially, I think they were just kind of getting at the cost of giving you a weekly pass instead of making you pay individually for each fare, which is not worth it. So they're going to get rid of the weekly pass in order to, boost our fares, boost our profits. And they actually say here, which is pretty awesome, the BC Electric says that they are the only company of any size in Canada that has a weekly pass, and only one city at the time had a monthly pass. And very few in the United States had them. So you can see this is kind of a fairly prevalent transit attitude back then. Very different.
Yeah, recently we were, so we had a question about fare zones. It's kind of a recurring question we find online. And Jen and I went looking through the archives about, what is about fare zones? And you found an old map that had, how many zones did we once have?
Oh God, I think we had 12 at once. Let me see if I can find that picture. But
it's just kind of this indispensable historical document, which luckily we've held on to because lots of that information just cannot be found anywhere else.
No, it really can't. And it's great to see the small transitions that add up to greater changes in the transit history. All right, let me see if I can find this fare zone. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Now you guys all really wanted to see me searching for pictures.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Oh, right.
There it is.
Look at that easy to decipher map.
Yeah.
So
all I can say is it's very confusing, and I don't even know how exactly it works. But it seemed to be that depending on your origin and your destination, you were charged different fares, and at a very granular level. And you were sort of expected to remember all this. And I think that's one of the reasons the buzzer came in handy, because then you would take this copy of the buzzer around with you and keep it in your wallet. And then know how to travel around.
Yeah.
That's 1958.
Oh, neat.
All right. Okay.
Well, Jen, so
we are just going to check and see if there's any more questions. Let's do that.
And if you don't, and one pops into your head
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, please contact
Let
us.
us know.
Those 3 ways to contact us, which are once again, tweet us at The Buzzer, send an email to thebuzzer@transit.ca, or just leave a comment on this Google Hangout. Question?
Yeah, we have one from Pamela,
Mhm.
which says, "What is your favorite back issue story you published?"
My favorite was the one that I mentioned, I think, which is about the Ready Kilowatt bragging to Uncle Sam about how awesome it is that Canadians are the most wasteful of natural resources, according to them at that period of time.
How wonderful.
Yeah, just because of the difference between
Triumph.
our thinking now and back then. How about you?
My favorite is, well, it was probably the one I referred to before, because that thing about the 1920s, I did actually put that into a back issue.
Mm.
But there was actually one that we did in 2 years ago,
Mhm.
where I republished an item from the 1936 Buzzer, which detailed all the transit complaints everybody had.
Oh.
And they are almost exactly the same as what we have today.
Yeah.
Stuff like, don't take up most of the aisle, don't put your legs out so that you take up more space on a chair than you should.
Mhm.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I guess,
and
buses have changed, but not
Yeah.
that much.
No, not really.
Neither have people.
Transit riding has never changed. It's really about sharing space and coordinating.
So if you have questions after this is done, please contact us. You can also let us know what you think of this Google Hangout. And let us know what you think about the Buzzer newsletter, because we're always looking to make it better. We're always looking at better ways to streamline it as well. So if you're somebody that thinks you can contribute to it in some way, whether you're an artist or have some other quality you think that other writers would like to read about, let us know, because it's kind of your publication as well. It's a community archive, not just a transit publication.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jen and I would like to thank you for joining us in this first experimental hangout. We hope you've enjoyed things.
Yeah.
And if you liked it, let us know. If you didn't like it, let us know as well, or give us suggestions. And
Absolutely.
also suggestions for future ones if you'd like to hang out.
And
Once
I
again.
made a little closing slide for everybody,
Oh,
so
lovely.
let me just show that. Oh, here it goes.
Yes.
Ta-da! That's Ready Kilowatt and his pal, the dill pickle.
Yeah. Maybe we should bring them back.
Maybe we should.
I kind of like it.
So again, that's how to reach us. Please keep in touch. Keep reading the Buzzer. And we'll say goodbye.
Have a good lunch hour. Thanks,
Have a
everybody.
good night. Or evening.
Keep-
Afternoon.
Yes. See you. Thanks.